Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Hauer here with my brother Jake. 3 consecutive years doing this show. Unfortunately, Tony can't be with us here to preview the championship series, but 3 consecutive years doing this show. 3 consecutive preview series on this very show. One that ended up in a choke job of epic proportions. Another one ending up in a huge victory in game three. And this next one is previewing the all New York Championship Series. Best 2 out of 3 between the Buffalo Bandits, who are the 4 seed. Traveling to Albany for game one, coming back to Buffalo for a certain game two. And then, if needed, we'll go back to Albany for a game three. The Albany FIREWOLVES, who are the 3rd seed. Going into this series, I mean, you can go back and listen to our previews. It's going to be very, very similar to those. The Bandits know what they're supposed to do. Us as fans and show hosts know what they're supposed to do. It's up for them to take care of business. It's right out there in front of them. 4-hour drive away. Bandits Mafia is going to make it out there. They know what to do. They just need to take care of business.
And it's a different team than for the Bandits. It's a different team that the Albany FIREWOLVES are seeing, right? The team that we brought out opening to start the season, we didn't have a face-off guy. We had a face-off by committee. Had guys like Ian McKay, Chase Fraser, and Dylan Robinson taking face-offs. Now we got one of our saviors, Connor Farrell, who is taking face-offs for us, and he's an absolute dog in the face-off circle. Just need him to improve a lot more than what he did on game two, or as compared to what he did on game two against the Rock. And we got Paul Dawson locking down or getting the defense in check, and they've been lights out too. And because of the defense being lights out, Matt Vince has also found his confidence again. Whatever he's been putting in his Gatorade, just keep on doing it. We got our face-offs locked down. We got our defense locked down. Now Matt Vince has found himself again. He's confident. He got hot again, and he got hot at the absolute perfect time possible. And as always, as we expected, the offense is figured out. But the 3 main things that has transformed from what we saw from the Bandits week 1 and in mid-February is our face-offs, our defense, and Matt Vince figured himself out again. So, like Trev said, the Bandits know what they have to do. They know what's in front of them. These guys have experience. The FIREWOLVES, on the other hand, they don't have the experience in the finals. So this is where the Bandits really need to lock it down and show them what they're made of right here.
Yeah, this is where the Bandits' veteran leadership needs to show up. Sometimes the veteran experience is much better assistance for you in the finals against a team that's new to the finals. I mean, this team really isn't new. If you really go back and look at the history of this team, this was the Philadelphia Wings that you beat in the 90s. This is that same team. So it's not like we're not going to be like the NLL website and say, this is this franchise history's first ever NLL Cup. Maybe it's this team's, this specific team. But, I mean, the NLL people on their website that should do their research would know that this is the original Philadelphia Wings team that the Bandits have seen 3 times, or they've beat 3 times in the finals. Back in the 90s, in the days of Tavares and the Kilgores and the Keenans and the Alexanders, those guys, the Bandits have, in their franchise history, know this team very, very well, but not this specific team. And the last thing I want to do on this show is be cliche, but when the playoffs hit, that 0-2 record against the Albany FIREWOLVES doesn't mean a damn thing.
Here's the thing.
Everybody is 0-0 at the start of the playoffs. Everybody entering the championship series is 0-0.
Here's the thing, though. So we just mentioned that the Bandits have had a lot of experience in the finals, in the playoffs in general. The Albany FIREWOLVES, this specific team, does not have any experience. Oh, I can't tell you. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of young guys on the team, so not a whole lot of experience, especially in the finals. The Bandits cannot let that fool them, because what did the Albany FIREWOLVES do in the semifinals? They knocked out a San Diego Seals team that has a hell of a lot of experience. Curtis Dixon, Dane Doby, Austin Stotts, the list goes on.
Yep.
The list goes on. They all have experience in the playoffs. Matter of fact, Curtis Dixon and Dane Doby beat us in 2019 to win the NLL championship. So they had a hell of a lot of experience. Albany said, screw that. Who cares about experience? We've been on fire for basically the whole season. We're going to show you guys what we're made of. That's exactly what Albany did. That's why the Bandits cannot let their guard down. Yes, they're a new team in the finals, but it cannot be overstated that the Bandits they're not going to overlook it, but it cannot be overstated. They need to pretend that Albany, who they're facing against, is the best team in the league because they are going to absolutely bring it. I know the Bandits are going to bring it, but so is Albany. The Bandits got to be ready for it.
Couple things to piggyback off of what you just said before we get into our players to watch for this series. There's another team last year that eliminated San Diego from the playoffs. And I don't know if you remember it, but that was the Colorado Mammoth. So the Bandits, that's something you got to look at too. You took down the Mammoth last year that beat a very talented San Diego Seals team that shouldn't be overlooked. But the Bandits did beat that very same team that also took them down in the playoffs. Another thing was, I was losing my train of thought there for a second. It was
the Mammoth knocked out the Seals last year.
Well, the Mammoth did knock out the Seals last year.
We're battling adversity. We're going through another adversity.
But this is something that I wanted to bring up. The Bandits have had so much pressure on them in the championship finals. They were always the favorites. The last, 2016 they were the favorite. 2019 they were the favorite. 22 they were the favorite. 23 they were the favorite. This could be absolutely dangerous for the Albany Firewolves.
100%.
Give them that pressure of the home field. You got to produce in front of which is probably going to be 10% of your home fans because it's going to be invaded by people wearing orange jerseys. But this is something new that we need to experience. We are taking a step in the 2022 Colorado Mammoth footsteps, the 2019 Calgary Roughnecks footsteps, the 2016 Saskatchewan Rush, where we want to go in there, almost act like we have nothing to lose. We are the lower seed. People are picking against us to lose. Go in with that mentality and shut those people up, just like what the Mammoth did to you, just like what the Roughnecks did to you, just like what the Rush did to you. This is something new where all the pressure on them to perform at home is on the Firewolves now, when the Bandits can just go out there and have fun, play fearless, and just play your game without that added pressure of, oh, you're the number 1 seed, you better go out there and perform. Oh, you're the number 2 seed, you better go out there and perform in front of your home fans. You don't want another upset. The Bandits have the chance to technically have that upset in the finals. That there shouldn't be any extra weight added onto their shoulders going into this series whatsoever.
They should also be going with a chip on their shoulder too, because they haven't won jack against Albany this year. So
yeah, but everybody's 0-0 in the championship.
Yep.
So.
But I know regular season doesn't matter, but again, this is a team that you did not beat in the regular season. But as I said earlier, you didn't have Connor Farrell, you didn't have Paul Dawson, you had Matt Vince playing at his best. But still, you're gonna come out fearless, that's for sure, because you want this championship and you want it badly. But this is a team that's given us fits early in the year, early in December, in the season opener, and in mid-February. So go on with a chip on your shoulder. I know right now the regular season doesn't matter, but again, you haven't beat these guys this year. Go into their house. Well, it's going to be a home game, basically.
It's essentially 3 home games if needed.
I'm going to say it's going to be 90% Bandits fans, Albany 10%. And, it sucks for Albany. It sucks for their team because they have a lot of dogs on their roster, a lot of really good players. Sucks that their fans don't show up to support them. But like I said, go in fearless. Show these guys what they're made of. You didn't win anything in the regular season against Albany. You didn't beat them at all in the regular season. Go in with a chip on your shoulder. Go show them what you're made of. Show them that you're a new team. This is who we are now. This is what you're going to go up against.
And the thing is, no added pressure. That is what I'm trying to drill into their heads. You're not the favorite. You're not the 1 seed this year. Don't go in there with all this added pressure of, oh, we got to perform because we're the number 1 seed. The spotlight's on us. You're the 4 seed. Go in there and just play. There is no added weight to your shoulders. Play the game that you've been playing the last 3 weeks, and I guarantee you will go back to back.
Play like you did in game 1 in the semifinals. I guarantee.
No, you'll beat anybody.
Bet the mortgage on the fact that you'll go back to back. Being the best team like that in the entire season, game 1, they talked all that garbage about home field. We're a different team, blah, blah, blah. Look what we did to the best team. I've always said, if you can, and I've said this in the regular season too, if you can sweep Albany and beat the Colorado, I don't care how bad Colorado was this year. If you beat Colorado in Denver and you sweep the Rock, you could be anybody.
Yep.
And not only did we sweep the Rock in the regular season, but more things change. More they say the same. We swept the Rock in the playoffs when it matters the most. So
8 straight postseason victories against them.
You can beat anybody. Just go out there and get it done. That simple. It really is that simple.
Yep, and one of the guys the Bandits really have to figure out for games 1 and 2 specifically, because I want the Bandits to get this thing done in 2 games, is, well, I mean, if they can, that'd be absolutely wonderful.
I had 2 guys you really got to watch out for.
But Doug Jamieson is my number 1 guy.
That was my one guy too.
Because, I mean, if we're going to have any offensive production, we had to climb the hill of how do we get past Dylan Ward last year, and we did. I mean, I think every single game they put up double digits on Dylan Ward in that series last year, but
And
we
in the
ended
regular
up,
season this year too.
yeah,
Don't forget that.
ended up winning 2 out of 3 and winning the title last year. Last time we played Jamison, the last 2 times we scored 10 plus goals. It was just inconsistent defense, no face-offs, and no goaltending from our end.
Inconsistent offense too.
Yep.
Kind of, sort of.
Just, I mean, Albany knows who the circled players are on the roster. It's Josh Byrne, it's Dane Smith, and the last couple weeks it's been Chase Fraser. Those should be the top 3 guys that you're circling on that offense. But then if those guys are covered, that opens up the lanes for the sneaky guys like Buchanan and Nanakoke and Kluche, who have great shots, underrated shots in this league as well. So if they take something out of the Toronto playbook where they shut down your stars, they'll let your secondary guys get open. It's just, I don't care who's shooting the ball. Doug Jamison, his weakness is the bounce shot. That's like everybody else's weakness. Like anything Nick Rose, low, it's the same thing with Doug Jamison. You shoot anything high, he's saving it every time. He's not Matt Vince. He's not going to let anything go above the shoulder. He's not like Brett Dobson. Nothing's going to go high. Go low on this guy. Go 5-hole and bounce the freaking ball. Take shots from all angles. Keep him on his toes. Keep him questioning every shot. I guarantee you they're going to fall in the back of the net.
Not only do you have to do bounce shots on Doug Jamison, what else do you have to do?
I don't know. Something with style points, maybe?
Get him moving. Get him moving. I want to
cross crease
see
pass.
Cross crease passes. Big goalie, get him moving. If you get him moving, go bounce shots. I guarantee you're going to put double digits in the net. For sure. Absolutely. And another player that we really got to watch out for, defense and transition.
The whole series.
Aware at this guy, the whole series of all times. Albany has a lot of young firepower on their offense. They absolutely do. But one guy that you really got to keep in mind is the catalyst of that offense. And that is Alex Simmons.
Yep.
Who, by the way, right now is 6 points away from tying the GOAT's rookie record in the postseason. That's Johnny Tavares.
Yep.
He needs 6 more points to tie Johnny's
1992 record, I think it was.
He needs 6 points to tie Johnny's record in the playoffs. I'm not exactly sure what that record is. We can get somebody to fact check that for us. But you got to be aware of Alex Simmons at all times.
I think it was overall rookie postseason points.
That's what it was. I just didn't know the exact total.
Yep.
But not only can he do damage to your goaltending and defense, we also don't want Alex Simmons to break Johnny's record. We want Johnny's record to stay. But got to keep him in check. You need to keep Alex Simmons in check because, like I said, when he's rolling, the entire offense is rolling. So Priolo, Dawson, McKay, Justin Martin, all those boys, they need to be on it because if Alex Simmons gets hot, watch out because when he gets rolling, that entire offense gets rolling.
What about his line mate, Travis Longboat, who you can catch from the restraining line, taking a sidearm shot?
There's just so much young talent on that roster, and you could just let's take a look. Let's read off some of these names that have been doing so well.
Joe Nardella in the faceoff circle.
Absolutely, it's gonna be a dogfight between Farrell and Nardella for sure. But these are just some of the forwards that they got on their offense right now that have been absolutely rolling for them. Alex Simmons, Ethan Walker, those have been the top 2 for sure.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the stats right now. Alex Simmons in the regular season was good for 96 points in 18 games. Absolutely phenomenal. Ethan Walker, 84 points in 18 games. Then you also got PLL Chaos weapon Ty Kurtz number 3 on points. And you also got Travis Longboat.
Marshall Paulus.
The list goes
Leo
on.
Storos on D.
There's just so much young talent. And by the way, I just wanted to throw in a fun fact here. This doesn't apply to the playoffs. But next year, Albany is going to be bringing in their number 1 draft pick, Dyson Williams from Duke, son of former Bandits legend Sean Williams. So Albany is going to be even more dangerous next year. But that doesn't apply to this year's playoffs. I just wanted to throw in that fact. But the fact of the matter is, the Albany FIREWOLVES have so much firepower on their offense, and they're all still so young. Right now, they feel like right now they are the feel-good story of the National Lacrosse League. They want to finish off their story, right? They're going to be hungry as ever, even though we're going to be invading their arena, kind of, crap on their story a little bit. But defense needs to be locked on because these young guns from Albany are not afraid of anybody. They're going to bring it, so defense in transition, and Matt Vince got to be aware of that entire offense, but especially Alex Simmons, he's basically the glue that keeps that offense going together.
And if there's Bandits players to watch, I got to go with the player who's had the hottest stick, and that's 22, Josh Byrne. The dude has been the most clutch player on this team, at least in the semifinals. What was it, 5 goals the other night in game 2 for him. And I mean, he's an all-around great player. I think he leads the NLL in points.
Definitely.
And
absolutely he did.
I mean, he's a pass first, he's a shoot first, he's a 2-way, 3-way forward that knows how to get the job done. And it's up for Albany. I mentioned this before where there's no added pressure. There should be a little bit of added pressure for Albany because if you want to win this thing, you got to get through the defending champs first. And one of the top players last year, when he came back from injury in that game 3, proved that if without him, I don't know if they win that game 3.
1,000%.
Josh Byrne is the number 1 player to watch going into this series for sure.
And then for number 2, in my opinion, we can talk about offense, we can talk about defense, talk about goaltending. Let's talk about our breakout player of the year and our savior for the season. Let's talk about Connor Farrell as the number 2 player to watch for tomorrow night's game 1 against Albany. Game 2, I mean, I know TD Erlin's definitely a top 2 face-off guy for sure. He definitely, TD Erlin definitely had his way with Connor Farrell. And Joe Nardella is another tough customer. I would say he's 3rd. I would say if I had to give my top 4, I can't think of my 5th right now, but I would say Jake Withers 1, TD Erlin 2, Joe Nardella 3, Connor Farrell 4. So Connor Farrell has got another tough customer in the playoffs against Joe Nardella. He's proven that he's one of the best face-off guys indoor and one of the best face-off guys outdoors. You know what? Actually, these guys are eliminated from the playoffs. No disrespect to this guy, let me move Trevor Baptiste up to 2, Connor Farrell down to 5.
Yeah, Connor Farrell's probably 5.
Yes, Trevor Baptiste is a dog. So that was a great face-off matchup too, by the way, last week. Trevor Baptiste versus Joe Nardella, very fun to watch. But like I said, Joe Nardella is one of the best, and he's proven that indoor and outdoor. So Connor Farrell, we know how good Connor Farrell is. We know how good he can be. So
you just got to use his body. Just use your body more.
He needs to use his body, get low, dig deep, go for those loose
Shove these
ground
guys
balls.
off the ball.
We know how good he is. Like I said, they're not going to come easy. I don't expect Connor Farrell to win these like he did against Saskatchewan in his first game of the season.
I don't expect him to get 50.
I don't expect these face-off wins to be, cakewalks at all. It's going to be a dogfight. So Connor Farrell needs to lock down, dig deep, and do the best that he can against Joe Nardella. If Connor Farrell steps up, the whole team is going to be clicking. That's for sure.
And then if you want to go defensively, this is our first championship series ever with Paul Dawson, a player who not only turned his game around at his age, but he turned around the defensemen around him like Steve Priolo, who was struggling a lot in the first half of the season. And it was getting to the point where the fans were like, why doesn't Dane Smith just take the captaincy full reins? Like, Steve Priolo won his title, and he's not looking the same now. Then Paul Dawson comes in after a bad loss against Panther City, I believe it was, when he got moved over to Buffalo. And then all of a sudden, the defense looks locked down.
I cannot say enough good things about Paul Dawson. You look at, obviously him and Priolo have really, stepped up and have become the leaders of this defense. Priolo has always been a leader, but Paul Dawson has just done astronomical wonders for this defense. He has helped out our young guys like Justin Martin and Cam Wires and Zach Belter and Dylan Robinson, all those guys. And he's even helped Priolo out. His knowledge and his experience and his wisdom that came to him throughout his entire year in the NLL has just helped out this defense so much. They've become so locked down, and because of that, it's also helped Matt Vince too. So Paul Dawson is absolutely a player to watch for tomorrow. Look out for his leadership and his experience to help everybody else on the defense and transition side of things step up. One of the obviously Connor Farrell was one, and I'm not just being, I don't even want to sound biased just because I'm a huge Bandits fan, obviously, but Connor Farrell should definitely be the number 1 total trade deadline acquisition across the entire league. Paul Dawson should definitely be number 2.
Well, free agency.
Free agency for sure. But Paul Dawson should absolutely be the top trade deadline acquisition. Such a great move by Dietrich. It's just helped out our defense so much.
Yeah, we essentially traded away Brad McCulley with those 2 number 2 picks for Paul Dawson, but it worked in our favor. And I don't know how much gas he's got left in the tank, so a championship with Paul Dawson on this team would be absolutely amazing. You got to think physicality wise, Nick Weiss and Justin Martin have to be chomping at the bit to face against these guys on the grandest stage, because Justin Martin, the last time we played those guys, absolutely got his teeth kicked in by a defenseman that was,
I think it was
double his size. I don't even remember who it
fact
was
check
off
it.
the top of my head. And then
If I see the last name, I'll get it.
Leo Storos in both games. Leo Storos and Nick Weiss have been button heads a bunch, and Nick Weiss is not afraid to scrap, even in playoff games. We saw that in Game 1 against the Toronto Rock. So physically, I think Justin Martin and Nick Weiss got to be players to watch. If you're fans of physicality and pushing and shoving and fisticuffs, those guys are going to be definitely key players to watch.
I think it was Colton Watkinson.
Colton Watkinson, yeah.
I believe it.
Who's
Yeah,
like
he's
double his
He's
size.
the Firewolves captain. Yeah, it was Colton Watkinson who did that to Justin Martin.
Yeah, Justin Martin, yeah, he's about half his size, and he dropped the mitts with him in our last home meeting with Albany. And you got to watch the rally line, too. I call it the rally line that consisted, when we were down 8-4, that consisted of Chase Fraser, Josh Byrne, and Tehil Kananikook. If you get those guys out, if you're trailing in the third, trailing in the fourth, trailing it all after halftime, Johnny T's got to bring those three out there on the field. They start the rally. They finish the job against the Toronto Rock. Shades of 2023, a come from behind victory in the second half, not just the second half, the fourth quarter down by 4 goals, something we really didn't see. It wasn't really that wide of a margin in any of the games in 2023, but if you're trailing, get those 3 guys out there on the floor because they wear it on their sleeve. Not saying anybody else doesn't, but they start at the rally and they finish and complete the comeback. So keep those guys out there. Watch that rally line is what I've been calling them.
Yeah, so many guys that you can watch out to help rally our team. And it's not just Josh Byrne, Chase Fraser, and Tehil Kananikook. It's also Dane Smith, obviously.
Kluche's overdue for a breakout playoff game.
for sure. Kyle Buchanan, the water bug, he's had himself a great semifinals. And then Ian McKay, big guy on defense, on transition as well, who could contribute on offense
Nick
and
Weiss.
defense too. Nick Weiss for sure. Got a lot of guys that this team can rally around, or got a lot of guys on this team that can start or rally. Look at all the cost turnovers that Priel and Dawson have done this year too. All the cost turnovers, all the loose balls that were recovered. So many guys that can start a rally, really start a comeback from this team. So just dig deep, find a way. I've been out of the few times I've been on this podcast, talking about the Bandits and talking about upcoming games and stuff like that. I just always say, be yourself, dig deep, lock down, because you can do it. All you gotta do is just show up and do it, because we know what Bandits lacrosse looks like. All the boys on our team know what Bandits lacrosse is. Just show up and do it. It's pretty much it. We know what they're capable of. They just gotta go out and do it. Just finish the job now.
And a couple keys to the game. It's nothing that you never heard before, but remember how you felt in 2022? Remember how you felt in 2023? Do you want to feel the way you did in 2022? No. Do you want to feel the way you did in 2023? Yes. I think that 2022 loss was the most humbling thing for this team. If we won in 2022, I don't think we win at all in 2023. Just because of the adversity and the fact that that team hadn't won in 15 years and that they were battling injuries the whole time. We were wondering what was going to happen that year. Remember those feelings. And Dane Smith and Josh Byrne, Chase Fraser said it all the time. 2022 was the worst feeling in the world, and they never want to experience that again. So they're never going to take another championship appearance for granted ever again. They're going to remember what it felt like in 2023, drinking out of the trophy. And how do you do that? You got to stay out of the penalty box. Game 2 in that first half, taking so many stupid penalties, lousy calls, but you got to be undeniable and you got to play around those bum calls. But it starts with that. You know that these guys have a lethal power play. Just, you got to support your goalie, and the best way to support your goalie is to play 5-on-5 the entirety of the game. Let them take a stupid penalty, and you go on the 5-on-4, 5-on-3 attack, because the Bandits have shown, it's not just Albany that has a good power play. The Bandits have a solid power play right around 50-60% this year.
Yeah, and going back to our power play, let's just go back to our offense. Another key, or another way in which the Bandits can very much support their goaltending is to score goals, right? Our offense needs to dig deep. They need to figure out Doug Jamieson. But hey, you know what? You went up against 2 very big goalies on the playoffs. You went up against Brett Dobson the first, who was absolutely a tough customer, and Nick Rose is no slouch either, even though we seem to always have his number, whether it be regular season and playoffs. So offense needs to do what they do best. They need to dig deep. They need to bounce their shots. They need to get Doug Jamieson moving. Support Matt Vince.
Shoot from everywhere.
Yes. Well, don't shoot from everywhere. If you got a lane, go for it. If it's a bad lane,
well, what I'm saying is make him question every shot.
Exactly. Smart shots. That brings me to another thing. Smart shots. Because there's been times in the regular season, I mean, it happens to every team. But now is the time where it matters the most. All right? You need to take advantage. Offense needs to take advantage of their possessions and take smart shots. If you can get Doug Jamieson moving, get him moving. Make those cross crease passes effective and bounce your shots. Get them low, bounce. We've said this. It's like, I feel like I bang on this drum all the time. Bounce shots are the most difficult shots to stop in the cross. So make your shots bounce. Get Doug Jamieson moving, okay? Because, like, as Trev stated first, obviously, supporting your goalie by staying out of the box, playing 5-on-5 lacrosse, that's a big support for Matt Vince. But it's also a huge support for Matt Vince if you keep racking up goals, because that'll make Matt Vince's job in the crease a lot easier. So stay out of the box, shut your mouth, stay 5-on-5 as much of the game as you can, and put as many balls in the net put as many balls inside the net past Jameson. I know it sounds simple, I know it sounds cliche, but you know what? A very effective offense is going to make our goaltender's life so much easier. It's just that simple.
Us as the fans in Albany, we're going to be getting in Jameson's head. It's up to the players to get in his head too by taking those shots and bearing in a couple goals behind him early. And fast starts is a big one too. If you get out to a fast start in game one, have them play catch up the rest of the way, because you know what? You got another game the next day. They're going to burn out all their energy in that game one to maybe come back and win it. If you get them in a vulnerable position, because we've never really had this before. We had the finals last year during Memorial Day weekend where we had the Saturday game and then Monday, so they had a rest day. If you jump out to a fast start, have them burn out all of their energy for the rest of the game, and then they got to play another game on the road in front of 19,070 Bandits fans the next day on low energy, low stamina, you will have your sixth banner hanging from the rafters of the KeyBank Center. You will go back-to-back for the first time since the Rochester Knighthawks in 2013, 2014, or whatever it was. You'll be that first team to go back-to-back. Fast starts, you'll catch them in a vulnerable spot. They will. That's what Albany will do. If you make them play catch-up from the first quarter all the way to the end, and maybe they have a shot at coming back and winning that game, they're going to burn out. And then all that momentum is going to be in your favor the very next day, 24 hours later, in front of all Bandits fans. None of this 90-10, 80-20 stuff. It's going to look like this in the background. All 19,070 Bandits fans at the KeyBank Center. If you come out to a fast start, I promise you that'll be the best scenario that this team could do going into game one for the rest of the series.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Last time I was on the podcast, it was the night before the Vegas game, the last game of the regular season. So this is when we clinched our home playoff game. Sorry, we clinched a playoff game. Wasn't home yet. But the whole time, my theme, but the thing that I repeated the most in that podcast was, why not us? Right?
Yep.
Because we're still the hottest team in the league. We have not lost a game, and I'm gonna knock on wood or
March 13th, whatever it was it
we
March
had not
20th?
We have not lost since that road game in Fort Worth, Texas against Panther City. And ever since then, we've really figured it out. And you know what? It took a home game against Toronto last regular season for us to really have figured it out.
It was a home game against Calgary this year.
No, it was the home game against Toronto on St. Patrick's Day. That St. Patrick's Day weekend. That's what got really the whole thing rolling. And ever since then, we've been the hottest team in the league. Toronto was the best team in the league by far, and they were stacked.
They had a franchise record, 15 wins.
Offense, defense, and goaltending was out of this world talented. And what do? Just like it always is, we sweep them. We come to life and we sweep them. Not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. And again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You sweep the Toronto Rock in the regular season and the playoffs, right? You exercise your demons against Colorado and you get a huge win in Denver. It may not have seemed like a huge win to casual National Lacrosse League fans around the country, but that's a huge win for Buffalo because it exercises so many demons. We're the hottest team in the league right now. We figured it out. We're clicking. Offense is clicking. Defense is clicking. Matt Vince is figuring it out. We have a face-off guy, Connor Farrell. Why not us?
Yeah, and it's not like we won game two Not like we had a 10-goal lead and we won by a goal at the end and we were choking it away. No, we came back. So all that momentum and then some swung in our favor. We had the week off. Hopefully that doesn't kill any momentum, but that was the best case scenario for the Bandits to win a game in that fashion.
Stuck around against Georgia. That was a tough game. I knew it was going to be a tough game too.
It's always a trap game against the Swarm.
Stuck around against Georgia. Beat the brakes off of Toronto in game 1. You figured it out game 2.
Came back.
Against the best team in the league. I love saying that because
15 wins.
There's nothing like beating the Toronto Rock. I don't care if it's regular season. I don't care if it's the playoffs. I love it when our boys beat the Toronto Rock. We have 2 more wins to go against a team that we did not beat in the regular season. Think of it, not necessarily adversity, because it's a completely different team than what we brought against them as compared to the regular season. But think of it as it was like against the Mammoth last year.
But we're also in a new playoff standing too.
Right. It was hard to get. It was very difficult to get it done. Get those 2 wins against Colorado. We haven't beat Albany yet this year. Going with a chip on your shoulder. Think of it as another adversity story.
Also didn't beat Colorado in the regular season last year.
Correct. Dig deep. Find a way. Why not us? Why can't this team go back-to-back? I've been saying it for so long. With all this talent that we have, with all the experience that we have, why can't we go back-to-back?
Yep.
Why not us?
No team has done it since the Knighthawks. Nobody's done it in this decade yet. Why not? And you got to be undeniable. The refs are going to suck. Just go into that game.
They always suck.
Go into the series, the whole series, knowing that they're going to suck. For all we know, we're going to get the Georgia Swarm Bandits crew, and they're going to try to screw every team out of a good play, out of something happening. They're going to call some bullshit on everyone. That's why I say you got to be undeniable. Don't let the refs control this game. If you jump out to a fast start and the refs call something crappy when you're up by 4 goals, who cares?
It should not matter.
Who cares?
It should not matter.
Be undeniable. If we're going into our series predictions, I'm going to throw a shot in the dark here. Don't even worry about this during Memorial Day because the Bandits, I don't care how close it's going to be, how much of a blowout it's going to be. I don't care if we win 2 games by a goal in overtime. If we get the job done, we get the job done. I have the Bandits taking the series against the Albany FIREWOLVES in 2 games. That's right. The 4 seed's going to go up against the 3 seed. I'm going to say the Bandits get it done in 2 games. Go back-to-back, and we're going to have another parade down here in Buffalo.
I'm right there with you. I don't know what the scores are going to be, but I'm going to say
I don't
Bandits.
care. Just win.
I don't care how you do it. Just get it done. Give me Bandits in 2 games as well. Let's do it. Sweep this entire playoffs. Show the entire National Lacrosse League and lacrosse fans across the country and the world that we are still the best. And it is still our championship to defend until next season. Get it done. 2 games. Show the entire lacrosse nation, teams, NLL teams, and fans across the country and the world that the best are still the best.
Yeah, exactly. And make it known. If you win in 2, that also means that 5 out of your 6 possible titles will be won in Banditland. The only one that wasn't was 1992 with John Tavares in overtime. 93 was won at home. 96 was won at home. 2008 was won at home. 2023, you have another shot at winning this in front of... Let them know that we are the mecca of indoor lacrosse. If you want to be the champions, you got to get through the Buffalo Bandits. This is their 3rd straight time. Hopefully they can take 2 out of 3 in the finals. Just do it. I don't care. In the words of Tehoka Nanakoke, just don't suck, and you'll be fine.
Well said. That's pretty much it right there.
Yep, we'll see you guys in Albany for Game 1. Unfortunately, I cannot make it for Game 2, but we'll be following along. I'll be at the parade if we win it, so...
I'll be there. Jigsaw will be there.
Ghostface and Jigsaw are going down for Game 1.
Yep. And then Ghostface will be at Game 2 in Spirit, because Jigsaw is never alone.
And then we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Ghostface and Jigsaw might be at Game 3. You never know. You never know.
I don't even want to put that in existence. Just get it done.
Even though it is a real possibility, but just don't suck.
Absolutely a possibility. Absolutely a possibility. But just, I know this team can do it.
Yep.
I don't even want to think about Game 3. I know this team can get. I'm sure a lot of you guys listening or watching on YouTube knows that they can get it done in 2 games as well. Just go find a way, dig deep, and just do it. Because I know that they can.
Yep.
Get it done this weekend.
And hopefully the next time we talk to you on this show, they'll have 6 rings. They already have 1 full hand. They just need to start the other one.
Yep.
We'll have 6 rings, hopefully, the next time we talk to you guys. That's what we hope. Fingers crossed for that. I'm not going to jinx
Absolutely.
anything. That's why I hope. That's why I got my fingers crossed. I got the Bandits in 2. He's got the Bandits in 2. If you're a smart Bandits fan, you have the Bandits upsetting, technically, the Albany Firewolves in the series. Because the champions are still here. We're still the reigning champs. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best.
In the words of Ric Flair, you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. That's what Albany needs to do.
We got a lot of dogs
But
on this
then
team that
again-
they need to beat.
Then
Telling you
again,
that.
it's also what we need to do.
Yep.
We are the defending champs. Let's not until proven otherwise, we are the defending champs, okay?
Yep. We might have the
But-
lower seed, but we are the defending champs.
But Albany Firewolves have been dogs for the entire year, so now it's time to show us what these boys are made of. Because
Yep.
it's a different team. I've said this about 10 times on the podcast. It's a different team than what we showed them in the regular season. Now it's time to show what our new boys have got in store for them.
Yep. Just do it. Just win. Like Al Davis, just win.
That's right.
You'll see us after the series, hopefully a big win. We'll see you in Albany tomorrow, first of all. Then, hopefully we can take it Saturday. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, we can be reigning champs. That's what we hope for.
God bless. Go Bandits. Have a great weekend.
Let's go Bandits.
Let's go.